Oh, absolutely. I'm thinking if GXR want to go left field again, they could go with a Weaver Tide support duo, which did work out. And again, the minus armor of that duo is so strong. Gush, Swarm, Solar Crest down the line. It will really amp up the damage of your Terrorblade. They do go into the Ember Spirit first, so they secure Alacti, a very safe sort of mid laner. It is a pretty safe mid laner as well against the ganking potential of Afu. We've seen him do this. He hits level 2 in the Shaker, rotates mid. The Ember, even at lane, can still dodge out a couple of spells, would say the Sleight of Fist up, and can be a bit tankier with the Flame Guard up. So I think that's just sort of a safe bet for them to have a good timing on Lacti compared to game 1, where his Tiny got Blink quick enough, but didn't really go beyond Blink Echo Saber in a meaningfully fast fashion. So we'll have to see if that changes with the Ember. Timing there is like Orb of Venom, Orb of Corrosion, Phase Boots, Maelstrom buildup perhaps as well. GXR do go into the Silencer instead, so likely our Silencer Weaver support duo. They could just run Weaver off lane now for Mizu, and instead close out with a different support, or run the Silencer off lane. So there's some flexibility here for GXR in deciding what their support and off lane is. A lot of flexibility to close out the draft. SMG, the Silencer could put a dent in their game plan. Like Global Silence before the Echo Slam comes through, before the Crippling Fear comes out from Night Stalker, means that their impact's really held back. And that gives GXR a big opening to just play around with what they want to do there.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can see the comfort picks coming out, right? Like GXR, we talked about the In Your Dream Terrorblade, but as well as that, the Alacrity Ember, another very scary hero. But speaking of scary, SMG now, with the mid SF coming out. Moon having a really, really just fantastic performance last game around on the mid laner. I'm assuming it's going to be a mid SF here for Moon this time around. Still have the flexibility to throw it in the safe lane if you really want to. This hero, I mean, it's been making a reappearance as of late. Does seem quite potent with the new Silver Edge changes. Does kind of just fit the hero. Do you think Moon can replicate his performance from last game with this SF?
I think so. I think, especially with the potential for an Earthshaker rotation, you have a lot of opportunities to try to punish the Ember despite his innate tankiness from magic damage with a Flame Guard and some dodge potential with the Sleight of Fist. The SF is still a high nuke hero in lane, and you tend to see that build up nowadays where it's like raises, Necromastery, and the Aura. So you get the minus Aura instead, and you can maybe get the value point in your ult. That's not the emphasis anymore. The emphasis is just going for the right click damage and getting that off, and the Shadow Fiend is highly effective in that. It can be really scary, especially when you hit your talent spikes. It makes it so much easier to push into objectives as well. So there's a lot of early threat here from SMG. Do you have to say SF into Silencer can also be a bit dicey, but again, if you're not looking for the ult play and you are just looking to right click, then you're basically just losing raises in your DPS. Getting overall for a right click SF, it's not the biggest loss, so should still be able to hold out. I think my one worry for GXR seeing this lineup from SMG is that they don't really have a lot of control outside of Global Silence and Chains from the Ember. So their last pick really has to tie in some team fight factor for them, or some sort of counter control outside of just Global Silence, so they can also find some openings to play with, catch out some of these heroes, especially say the Night Stalker might be an issue in terms of locking them down if you don't land the chains. And you do close out with a Spectre instead. It looks like I don't know about that one here though. Spectre with Silencer Weaver support with a Terrorblade on the 1, that's a lot greedier. It is way greedier from GXR. The last time we saw them do this was with a Leshrac pause 1, and that felt like they distributed the farm a lot better. Of course, they did have the Weaver support at that time, along with the Tide support, but I don't know about this. They lack team fight on GXR outside of Global Silence. That's a really long cooldown. Haunt's a really long cooldown. I think SMG is going to be able to punish that.
No, I certainly agree with. Like, I was kind of looking at that offlane pickup at the end, and I'm thinking, okay, my first thought was the Tide, but it got banned out, and I think SMG, they made a very nice ban in the Spirit Breaker as well, because we've seen Mizu just able to constantly just charge at people once you have the Ags up, and it can be quite devastating. I think even I referenced it almost to an Earthshaker yesterday. The Spirit Breaker feels like right now. SMG now, they're going to go with the PL. Love the pick here for mid one. I think SMG with this draft just looks much better. And I go back to the point you made. Where's the team fight for GXR? How are they going to make the space fit in your dream this game? Like last time around, we saw the Pulse 3 Spectre. I realized it worked, and I realized Mizu made it look really good, but that was with a position 1 Leshrac. Right? So in your dream, he didn't need to farm up for 40 minutes. He was able to kind of get online in 15, 20 minutes and started pushing down towers. And eventually Mizu progressed into the position 1 himself from the off lane. But now when you've got Terrorblade, Ember, and Spectre, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting draft, John. It does feel like there's going to be a hell of a lot of pressure on Alacrity and Paulus in this game to really just lock the heroes of SMG down. I just don't know how you do it.
It's near impossible. I'm looking at this PL. You don't have a good way of keeping a PL down. You have chains. That's it. Even if you get Global Silence off, PL could just build Manta, and you're done. Like, there is literally nothing to lock in the Phantom Lancer. Say you want to gank attempt with Mizu, maybe get the Haunt off. PL just doppelgangers, and your Haunt's gone. So,
yeah.
I don't know how they can deal with a Phantom Lancer. I mean, Alacrity is a counter on the Ember, but even with a Maelstrom, it just doesn't sound like it's going to be enough. We'll have to see. Definitely favoring SMG's draft overall. I think GXR went a bit too left field with this one, but we'll have to see. I mean, they made it work last time. Maybe they can make it work again.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I won't doubt them this time like I did yesterday. We'll give them a chance. We'll see what they can get done. Still, I think we can both agree that SMG does look to have the stronger draft. But it's yet to be seen how both teams play them out. So, I think the comfort picks of In Your Dream and Alacrity here on the Ember and Terrorblade might make it so they might be able to pull off this draft. Hell, even Mizu on the Comfort Spectre might feel very, very good here in this game. But once you hit that 15-20 minute mark and you start kind of grouping up and going for these fights, that's when it's going to prove to be difficult for this draft. And I think GXR are just going to have to be very wary about the cooldowns they have. Like, you can't force a fight without Global Silence in this game, it feels like, for GXR. You know, unless it's like a solo pick-off you're going after, but you know, anything more than a 3v3 and you're kind of screwed. Alacrity, mid lane, may get caught out. KP just kind of throws out the void. They do at least find the Observer Ward very early on for that mid lane matchup. Already giving a decent advantage over to Moon as now Polison's rushing forward, but there's your void with the Blood Rite flying out and the Fisher Fu right from the backside, and they give another first blood to Moon. Second game in a row, the mid lane of SMG gets first blood, and I think it was Polison both times that died.
Yeah, it's a costly kill to give out. SMG just going to be feeling really good. They do manage to grab 3 bounty runes once more. So GXR will only start with 1, and these kinds of small economy games for SMG to start off with, it just allows them to snowball so much faster. GXR is going to have to watch themselves. Do you see the lane split up? Mid one is heading up top on that PL. He is with Bloodseeker 5 by Raji once more. They're laning up against Mizu's offlane Spectre and Jokam on Weaver. This time around against a Bloodseeker and a PL, like, you can try to just harass out with Jokam, play around with Shikuchi. At the same time, you have to watch for the Blood Rite, you have to step out. The output of PL plus Bloodseeker, it's not naturally synergetic. At the same time, it's very hard to bully them out. Like, Jokam just has to put his body forward and try to keep the right clicks up and hope that he doesn't get twacked back in return.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you, John, I mean, we're going to have a look at the mid lane, and I'm not particularly a great mid player, but every time I've ever fed first blood to the enemy mid lane, my mid lane is not very happy, and I imagine Alacrity is not going to be too satisfied with Moon getting such a big advantage every single game he has to play against him. As you see in that mid lane, in fact, hold that thought, because mid one's being chased down right now, but he's going to be alright. But back in that mid lane, Alacrity already 2 CS behind. I think it's going to be fairly normal for him to be behind the SF, because Moon's going to have that natural kind of right-click advantage with the souls coming in. And of course, the Razors make it quite easy to secure CS as well. Do you give the advantage to one or the other here in this mid lane, John? Do you think Alacrity should have the advantage over Moon, or should it go the other way?
I think it's a fairly even lane. There's some counterplay the Ember can do. You could really try to play on edge, dodge out with a sleight of fist. Big issue for Ember here is not just that he's melee, but that his Flame Guard just disappears with 2 raises almost. So once 2 raises are up, you lose your wave clear capability, you lose your way of CSing safely, and Moon just abuses that like that.
Yeah.
3 raises down.
That was a great final raise out. Moon just on the edge. But he calculates it. And that level 3 mark with the level 2 raises out, it's just so much damage. Just really bad news already for GXR, as this mid lane is just not going to go great for them, as Moon already 2-0-0. Gonna have first dibs on both those water runes. Just terrible, terrible news. And John, I don't mean to make it worse for the GXR fans, but Arfu, he's made a rotation over. Fish is on target. Moon, he's already got 1 raise down. He just needs 2 more. There's your flame guard out. It'll already be kind of busted down, but they can't get the kill, I don't think, unless Arfu, he's going to go for the dive in, but Jokam's rotated onto the Earthshaker. They'll try to get rid of the bug. Moon will keep going after this Weaver, but Arfu, he may have overextended this time, unless Moon gets a kill here, and he does have a mango, and he gets the final raise off. I can't call it worth. GXR, they've given a 3rd kill over to Moon. It's not good news.
No, it really isn't. I think in this lane, what we used to see when we saw more SF and Embers mid, the build-up used to be Sleight of Fist max, right? Because your Flame Guard just won't do anything. At least with Sleight of Fist max, you've got a lower cooldown. You can maybe dodge out a couple of raises. You can clear the creep wave from quite a fair bit away just playing with Sleight of Fist and playing safe. You can see that emphasis of Afu. He's just staying mid. He's just constantly bullying out Lacti, not giving room out. And this is what we expected. This is how he plays his Shaker. He just doesn't give that mid lane any room to breathe.
He's doing such a great job. Look at that Fisher block, John. It looks so simple, but just wasting more time from Alacrity, getting more damage out, forcing the bottle charges. This is why I love the Arfu Earthshaker. I think this man just plays it at such a high level. He's just at level 2. He doesn't care about his own XP. He knows he'll catch up later. Moon will surely just give the lane over once he hits a higher level. And speaking of higher levels, John, he's level 5.5 at 4 minutes. That's a big problem. Zalacrity, he's going to hit level 5 now. Meanwhile, in fact, it was top lane, Rogi ends up dropping to Jokam. But back to Arfu. He's just doing such a great job. He really is.
Yeah, even while he's gone from lane, KP is holding his own bot lane just fine. It's a Night Stalker. He's playing a bit safe. He's not getting as much CS out, and he's not really slowing down In Your Dreams Terrorblade, but he's having a fine time.
It's very hard to look at the side lanes right now because all the action's in the mid lane. Look at Alacrity. He knows Arfu's here somewhere. He has to go farm neutral camps now, but Arfu knows exactly where he is. He'll force Paulson to rotate. Fishes out, but it does miss. A nice Sleight of Fist dodge, and Arfu will get the tip back. They punish him. They read the movement, and everybody tips Arfu. And you know, that's a bit of a respect tip, I think. They know how well he's playing. They've got to get into that mental warfare now against this Earthshaker. It's top lane, Rogi. Be chased down by Jokam. Salve up, he's going to be alright.
Yeah, I think overall, even losing Afu is not too bad because, again, Moon has a free lane. Level 6 now, level 3 on the Necromastery along, but it raises his damage output's pretty sickening from the right clicks in the magic side. You do have to watch yourself. You're keeping Pulse in mid just to cut Afu off.
Yeah, but Moon's going to come in from the side. Alacrity's still going to chase him down with the Flame Guard at level 3 now. Arfu dropping quite low. More TPs to come. Nice Fisher with the Blood Right, though. They get the silence off, and another raises to fly out. Rogi, he'll take the kill. Tips back the wave. Alacrity now is Paulson. He'll die as well. Jokam, just get out of there, sir. It's not safe right now. Not another kill to Moon. They'll give it to Rogi instead. A double kill to the Pos 5 Bloodseeker. And SMG, they're camping the mid lane. They are not leaving Alacrity alone. And poor Alacrity, I mean, sometimes you have to go against the Bat Riders. This time it's a 3v1 in the mid lane.
Yeah, he just has no room to play right now. He doesn't have his level 6 ups. He doesn't have remnants to just kind of run around, try to get burst damage off with the max level 3 Flame Guard. And I think it goes back to this build. Going max Flame Guard against a max raise SF, you're not going to have that presence clear out the creep wave. You're not going to have the dodge capability without spamming out the Sleight of Fist. You don't have any durability with your Flame Guard just melting. So it just got counteracted by the SF just being SF, and I think it's going to take a bit more time for GXR to get that running start going. They do at least, no, they lose their bot lane as well. They do find Afu at least.
I love Afu. I really do. Like, he's setting up everything, Joe. He's basically won both the bot and the mid lane just with this Earthshaker. And this is all while he's still level 2, by the way. As Moon, Apparently gets Mizu now across the map. Top lane gets a Spectre. Jokam gonna try and juke him out. He has another security, but the creep wave is chasing and he's gonna run right into mid one. And Jokam, that is not your tower, sir. He'll try to run north. He'd rather give the kill over to mid one than to Moon right now, it seems. I guess you didn't have a much better option.
Yep, I mean, the lanes of GXR, they're just not panning out. It's 4-9, so they've found a couple of kills, which is nice, but there's a 2k lead on SMG. Right now, it does feel like for GXR, a lot of the focus is on just getting in your dream to hit some farm spikes, hit that Dragonlance timing, go into maybe the SNY, and just try to build up on your big core, because everyone else is kind of faltering. Maybe they hit a power spike once Haunt and Global Silence is up. They could look to make a play there, but even then, Mizu still doesn't have his full earn up. That even if he did, he wouldn't have any charges up for some damage.
Mid lane, dive in, Moon, he'll get chained up, Jokam to show up, they'll haunt in as well, Moon, he's just surrounded, KP gonna try and help out, they've at least got Jokam down, and now Alacrity needs to run, and there's your Fisher out again, Arfu, he won't let the Remnant back. Paulison, he will at least TP away. Meanwhile, Mizu, he dies top lane, mid one, able to take him down. You get Moon, but who the hell cares? You lost 3. It's just not good trades out for GXR.
No, I mean, it's a kill they really needed. They might have to be a bit cautious, as even in your dreams getting dived in triangle. KP's not healthy enough to keep the chase, so that is good news. And
GXR, they might lose KB, but oh no, here we go again. Silence is there with the Fisher out. Alacrity, he doesn't have another Sleight of Fist right now. Oh, he just can't. This Shaker is just following Alacrity. No matter where the Ember is, Alacrity's going to be there every single time to make sure he denies him a kill.
Yeah. Afu's just on point with his movement on the map. They just can't apply that pressure, and I think right now they're trying to play as multiple heroes. Jokam.
Oh boy. It's getting bad now. It's getting real bad, John. 5-13, 3k net worth lead at 9.5 minutes. You've got such a greedy draft from GXR. And if you're losing this early on with this kind of greed, I don't know how you're going to make a comeback later. As you look at Mizu, he hasn't even got the earn up yet, John. He's got a Ring of Health and a Sage's Mask. That's about it.
Yeah. He had a pretty decent first haunt into mid, but he still died in the end. He's actually just going to go for the Vanguard. So, like a tanky Spectre presence to toss his body in front to get all the focus on him. It takes a while for that kind of build to be effective, but maybe it works out against the physical output of SMG. At least this does allow him to survive against the mid one lane with a PL. That does block a lot of illusion damage. But it will take some time for the Spectre to really be online. The side of SMG are already making moves for that bot tier 1. They will have to mass TP to stop this.
They want this SF real bad. Requiem going to be channeled up. He'll fear a couple away. In fact, he gets all 3 of them and now just walks. Remnant forward, but who are you going to get? Instead, they'll turn on Afu. They'll take what they can get right now. It's something for GXR, but John, that's 5 heroes rotating down bot to get an Earthshaker. It just doesn't seem worthwhile.
Really not, but they have to take these kills. They have to take literally anything that offers itself on the map. They're going to try to keep that pressure up now. Maybe look for more, maybe plant some wards in jungle. They don't quite have any obs. And in that downtime, mid one just takes a top tier 1. So he gets a free tower on a PL. He's building up really fast. Number 1 in net worth now, above Moon's SF because of those kills. Oh.
Mid lane, KP. This will be a nice pickup. GXR able to find a secondary kill. Paulson, he'll happily steal the int of KP. And, we've seen this before against the Night Stalker of KP. If you're still enough int away, it gets to the point where he doesn't even have enough mana to use Dark Ascension and use a Void. So you got to be a little bit wary of how much int you lose, as now Ronji does get caught out by the chains, and Alacrity looking to get some revenge here on the side of SMG will give more int away of Paulson.
They can kind of transition to that mid-tier 1 push now. They do have the Metamorphosis up on In Your Dream for quite a fair bit longer. Issue is mid 1's here, and his PL already has the Diffusal. So if you come up, you're going to lose your mana. You're just going to get burned down. The only person to really tank through is Mizu with a Vanguard, and even then, he probably doesn't want to show up, doesn't contribute to that push. So you still have to be cautious because everyone else on SMG, every time
Mid
you
one.
kill one core, the rest just go in.
Look how aggressive mid one's playing right now. Mid lane, he's already trained all the manner of alacrity and just wants to chase him all the way down past the tier 2 tower. But Mizu, he'll haunt him to make sure he can't keep chasing. Silence is going to be there. They'll try and juke it out, but Mizu, he still gets silenced anyway. Bly the Blood Right and does end up dropping is now the Rupture. Is there onto Paulison? He gets to the high ground, he'll be fine, but KP was looking meanwhile on the right side. Mid one ends up dropping a Joe Cam, but Moon looking to clean up. Time lapse is there. Moon still trying, but the Sakuchi is making it so Joe Cam's able to juke out all these razors. And so in the end, GXR able to get a pretty damn decent pick off. In fact, they found another KP to drop. Moon's still around. Does he want to try and go after the Weaver? He does, but Global Silence is there. He'll still finish off the kill, but now Alacrity will rush in. Chains are off cooldown now. They'll get the lockdown. In Your Dream gonna walk in to try and help out, but no meta is up. Moon still here is trapped between a rock and a hard place, and they'll find another. On to the next. Fu, he's been caught, or has he? Alacrity, he doesn't have the chains. And so mid one, he'll rotate over, drain all the mana of the Ember, but you'll have Mizu rushing forward, trying to man fight the PL mid one. He'll just keep going. Blood Right's out. It does not catch Alacrity, but he's out of mana anyway. They'll just rush him down now. Back to Mizu. They want that Spectre, but Mizu's quite tanky with the Vanguard up. So it's not going to be too easy, but now the Rupture's there. But will they protect GXR? They're going to commit to making sure the Spectre does not die as Fu. He'll be chased down. A great Fisher though, but it won't matter the dagger. It does land in time. Can Joe Cam find more? He's on to mid one. But he hasn't got the help. In fact, Joe Cam, he'll be forced to ult back the other way. But I believe that was still favorable for the side of GXR as they find a 1 for 2. They really need any kind of kills they can get right now.
They are finding the key kills. They have killed off Moon a couple of times. They've killed mid one a couple of times. So they're starting to catch up. In Your Dream is having to show up for a couple of these fights to contribute with some damage, but it is worthwhile in the end. Net worth lead is still on SMG's side though. I think for SMG, they need to just slow down the pace a bit. They have to respect that global silence. Maybe hit a couple more item spikes. Once you have this BKB up on Moon, nothing will stop him. So I think you just wait for that BKB to be up. You're good to go despite the global silence. You're not going to care too much. There is a smoke from SMG though.
Oh, Joe Cam, I believe he was spotted. Sentry Ward down, Rupture's out. Joe Cam, he's stuck. He's going nowhere as KP will have his way with him now. And does. Nice pickup from SMG as they want more with the Dark Ascension. Arfu's having a look around. He won't quite find a target, but now they'll spot out Paulison, and that'll be a free silencer kill. The way of GXR is Roger will take it. Alacrity really can't fight at the moment, and he just needs to run the hell away from KP as the Crippling Fear is about to be off cooldown. He'll turn for the chains. Remnant forward again. Moon, though, he's on the chase with the Haze Room, but he'll Remnant back the other way. But there's your Fisher out again into the Blood Right. He'll juke that one out, but can he get out? The Ember's still dropping low. He'll try to turn onto Moon, but no, he's gone. Moon now, Requiem out. Force Joe Cam back the other way, and just TP's right in front of them. Another great play from SMG. They just find three for nothing. Joe Cam, Paulison, and Alacrity all going down from the top to the mid lane. Just nowhere on the map is safe right now for GXR.
No, they even lose their tier 1 mid, so the jungle's opened up a bit more. It does make it a bit harder to maintain triangle presence as well if SMG just wants to keep running their bodies forward. The side of GXR, though, they've got Global Silence, they've got Metamorphosis up, so they could look for a counter push onto that mid.
And Moon, and he dusted up here. Mizu really would love this kill. Pig out is there. He'll just walk away as now the cavalry is incoming. SMG, who do we go for? Fisher, not going to block off In Your Dream, but it will at least force him back as now they find Roger, and there's your Global Silence out. Arfu, he'll be targeted. Mid one, right in onto In Your Dream, but the damage output, they've got the mid one down. The PL's gone. KP, he will also drop as well. They at least get the Terrorblade down though. Moon, he'll try to run. The chase is on, but with the Shadowblade, he's going to be just fine. Or will he? Joe Cam, he'll get the swarm out, but now Joe Cam might be in trouble. In fact, never mind. He'll go after Roger. The Bloodseeker, he'll take retreat back behind that tier 2 tower is now Moon. He'll come back into the team fight, but maybe it was a bit too preemptive. He'll go back into the pig form, and we'll just run as GXR are not going to dive the tier 3 tower yet. But it seemed like a decent team fight there for GXR. Their only real big casualty was In Your Dream. But they at least get a dieback on Rogi. And they get 4 kills in total. In fact, they're not done yet. It's back onto Moon they go. Fish is there, Arfu ready to set up, but Moon is dropping really low as they get the bugs on him. And now the Echo's there with the Requiem, but Mizu, he still gets the kill. The return damage with the Spectre is enough to kill off Moon. And I think GXR, they'll be very satisfied with that kind of trade.
Yeah, they're starting to reel it back on GXR side. Again, SMG's trying to respond to the aggression themselves, but they've started to bleed some of that lead back every single time they give these massive kills away. From a 4K lead, from around 4K, it drops down to just 2K for SMG now. And GXR have a lot more to play with. In Your Dream's catching up quite nicely. They managed to get some more farm on Alacrity. They're hitting some big spikes. With a Maelstrom, Alacrity's right-click output with a Sleight of Fist is good enough to kind of clear these PL illusions at this point. So you have to be cautious. And
Rogi mid lane, caught out again and there's no way out. He'll Rupture, but Alacrity can Remnant without taking any damage anyway. Already had one out just in case. And that net worth lead now down to 1K for SMG. All the way down from about 3 to 4. It's In Your Dream. Gonna make the chase in. Haunt is there from Mizu and they found Arfu. He's got no way to defend himself at the moment. And suddenly it feels like GXR are looking like the stronger team.
Yeah, I think for SMG, they need these item spikes to come in. They need BKBs up to be safe under chorus, especially on Moon. Once you have that, you could look to fight again, but the side of GXR really using this aggression quite well.
Yeah, great dust out, Moon. He needs to run. He needs some help right here, right now, but where is it? It's not going to be there in time, Moon. He'll drop. Mid one's going to rotate. They haven't got the silence, though, on Alacrity. He'll juke it out with the Sleight of Fist and back off again. At least Rogi does get a D-ward out of that, but he's 21 to 21 now between these two teams. And John, have a look at that graph. Just terrible news for SMG.
Yeah, they were just way too keen on fighting back. They were strong, but you can't underestimate, again, the output of a Terrorblade when he does show up, the tankiness of a Spectre going for Vanguard first, standing in front with a Blade Mail up, splashing damage back. It's a difficult spot for SMG until key items are up. Their PL, mid one is saving up for the Manta, does have it up now, so he does have an additional Dispel when the Global Silence is up. He's not going to be at complete risk. He can just kind of mantle, doppel around, and get back into the game. What we really need is Moon's BKB. Like, we've seen massive issues when the silence is out. Moon is just out of tools, out of any, ways of just dancing around trying to get right clicks off. And GXR are doing a good job with that aggression. They're going to go into the Roche. They've got the double damage on hand. They've got the Swarm minus armor, along with that early Solar Crest on Jokam as mentioned. So it's not going to take too long. And SMG, they don't have vision in the area. They don't have any clue. It's going to be a free Roshan for GXR, which keeps them in the game once more.
Don't you love...
Bit early with a smoke, though.
Don't you love the double damage rune in front, John? The GXR.
Oh, yeah.
Every time. You love to see it. I do agree, though. Bit of an early smoke out. SMG, they seem prepared for this. Still, Alacrity's going to move forward. Missed the slide and chains. Still, they'll spot out Rogi. Nice Fisher block. But it won't help, I don't think. Rogi already accepting the fact that he is going to die. And now GXR, it feels like they can get very aggressive with this draft. There's bot lane, they're going to be there to defend. TP's incoming, mid one will show up. They'll go on to Alacrity with the crippling fear, but he has help right behind him, but it's not going to be quick enough. Alacrity is already down. In Your Dream, he's popped the meta, but which one's the real mid one? He's losing so much HP and mana, he can't even sunder anymore. But mid one, he's been caught out. He's gone too deep, or has he? Doppelganger out, back in on Mizu, but no, he's going to drop. A bit too confident there with all the illusions. And once he lost KP, he just couldn't retreat and he couldn't really fight.
It was a lot of heroes committed down bot. At least they found Alacrity first, but the trade-off doesn't feel worthwhile. In Your Dream lives, he gets the AoE gold. Mid 1 now drops to number 2 in net worth. And has stalled out for enough time that the BKB is up on Moon. So I think this is the point where SMG can look to play aggressive once more. They can look to try to put the SF up front, maybe look for a good Requiem this time around rather than a responsive one. Just run from there.
Rogi, he'll get a Rupture on Jokam, but that's not going to matter. There'll be no follow-up to it. Meanwhile, in your dream, still very confident with that Aegis up. Even without the meta, would love to spot out a hero that they can go after. But you've got to be wary Arfu. He has the blink up now, so he might be able to get a big initiation here if Moon does get caught, but he does BKB and TP out. And in the meantime, down at the bot lane, Paulison does end up dropping to mid one.
It's a nice simple pick off. Unfortunate for Moon that his first BKB use is just a TP out. So he's down to an 8-second BKB, not as long as you'd want. Really good moves out from GXR to punish the deep dives from SMG at the top lane. And GXR, they find themselves in net worth lead now. Again, In Your Dream is number 1, not by much, by about 100 gold on Terrorblade over the PL, but it is a notable change of pace here for GXR. The rest of their cores are slightly behind the 2 cores, although.
Echo out, Arfu looking to set up. Mizu, he's still a very tanky target. He's going to try and fight back. Arfu, he's gone. Mid one, he needs to run. They couldn't get rid of the Spectre. Mizu, he's still alive. The Requiem will get a ton, but now the buybacks are there. They want to try and clean up SMG. Jocam, he's going to rush in and he's found Moon on the SF. He should eventually just die in Your Dream. He'll get it done with the reflection onto KP. He is forced to BKB and Dark Ascension out. Oh, but you commit everything. And Mizu, he just wouldn't die, John.
No. It's Dispersion, it's Vanguard, it's Blade Mail, and Chip Fest. So there's a lot of return damage flying out from that Spectre. And we've seen this in a couple of fights already. Each time they jump the Spectre first, and they're just doing what GXR wants them to do. Trying to focus their damage onto the tank, reflecting damage back to themselves. They're not that tanky yet on SMG side, and they're being punished really hard for that. I think maybe you might need a source of break at this point. You just want that full Silver Edge on Moon to handle the Spectre down line. It's still way off. They lose their top tier 2 now. They still have a minute left on that Aegis, and they're going to be able to take the outpost. So they've got control in the top jungle here from GXR without that TP point left for SMG, and they're just going to smoke, keep that aggression up. It's SMG's time to have to slow the game down and try to build up, but we're not seeing a fast enough build up. They're constantly forced to respond with their big cores. They're not being given enough space to farm up, and that's just hurting their progression in terms of items here.
Absolutely. So now look at GXR In Your Dream leading the charge. Down to that bot tier 1. Jocam, he'll scout out to find some targets for the team. Moon, we'll see Alacrity, smoke broken. But within that Shadow Blade, he should remain safe, at least for now. He's almost at that Silver Edge as well. Just needs a bit more gold to have that up fully completed. In the meantime, mid one, working towards his own Shadow Blade right now. He's just kind of going with the meta trend of items. It still is quite potent on the PL, just having that bonus kind of crit available to you, as well as the initiation and the escape of the Invis. But they are just so far behind right now. It's just not a great look if you're a PL. Alacrity onto the DD. KP forced the BKB up and just get out of the chains and TP out. He's got no other option. They've just got to try and play the patience game now. There's just no other choice here for SMG. They're lacking too much farm.
And the issue for SMG playing the long game, though, is that it's giving the supports of GXR time to also build up. Jocam is inching towards his Ags, just lacking the point booster. Once you've got that Ags upgraded time-lapse on multiple heroes, how do you actually kill him? When, say you drop Mizu low, he gets time-lapse back, he's got more HP to reflect damage back onto you. There's just a lot more SMG has to really handle here beyond just these big cores. The greediness from GXR is actually paying off.
Do they want to jump Mizu, John? I don't know if they want to do this. They can see him. I don't know if this is a great idea. Fish is going to be up. Moon going to move in. Silver Edge. Echo committed. Global Silence is there. And now the Horn Sound. He'll go right up north. And he'll just keep bouncing around. They can't kill him. And now the jump in. Moon. He does get a nice Requiem. That'll be Alacrity down. Mizu still dropping low. But somehow still alive. He's still running with the dagger out. And he might just make it. Meanwhile, Jocam. He finishes off Moon. They still got the Spectre alive. And he has Shadow step up. So he can rejoin the fight after a reset. KP, meanwhile, he needs needs to run with the BKB up, but JoeCam, he'll chase him down on the Weaver, but now the Rupture's there. Hold him down. Time-lapse back the other way. Looks like JoeCam should be alright, but mid one will keep the chase up, but no detections available. They'll dust up now, but JoeCam's fine. Fisher's there. Mid one, though, he's dropping too low. They'll get the Weaver, but they're going to lose their Phantom Lancer in the meantime. It's not a good trade whatsoever for SMG. And that's why I asked the question, John, do you want to jump? Do you want to jump the Spectre? Because Mizu, it just always seems like bait. Every single time.
Yeah, I mean, they had the Silver Edge, so I can understand the confidence coming through from SMG. The damage just wasn't there. It's just not enough, even with that break on Mizu. The Blade Mail active and the chipped vest on top of it, just way too much returning back, and takes so long to eat through the HP of that Spec. He's saving up for a Heart next, and once Mizu has that up, you really shouldn't touch the Spectre anymore. Just too much coming through from Mizu. I think SMG right now, they need more on their PL, right? Like, I think Moon's in a really good spot with just BKB and Silver Edge, but the PL needs so much more to play with. Like, just Manta Diffusal, it's not enough to be up front. You need more stats. He was going for the Silver Edge, at least a Shadow Blade. I'd say you want more strength. Maybe a Scotty coming through could really help the cause. Maybe a Heart on the PL would help his forward presence as well to deal with all of that reflected damage coming through. As it is, he just can't man-fight all too well.
Mizu going in with the Shadow Step onto KP, just with the extra damage out from the Illusion. Haunts up in 15 seconds again. So he's going to have that up very, very soon if a team fight breaks out, and they know they can't deal with him. I don't care how many heroes you have around Mizu. It just always feels like bait. Roger's going to move in now. Maybe they just rupture him up. Fu, he'll move in. Silver Edge is there. Maybe this time they can get him. But no, the time lapse. It's out from JoeCam. He'll save the day, and now the Haunt's in. They can reinitiate, and that's exactly what they'll do. They're still trying on Mizu. He won't die, though. Back towards the south. JoeCam, he may have been caught, but he wants KP before he goes down. He won't get him. SMG, a nice trade, is now to blink in back onto the Spectre. Polison's joined. He has his own Ags up now with the AoE last word, and now the global silence to hold a couple down. Mid one, and the SF needs a back. Alacrity's in. Arthu's down. Buyback will be there from the Earthshaker. Alacrity out of mana, but still willing to try and fight. Mid one, he'll man fight him. Meanwhile, Kami-sama in your dream, dropping too low. He needs a Sunder. He doesn't have the mana though. He'll just try to run, try to man fight. He still won't die though. How can you kill this man? He's got the Sunder up now with the Echo Slam. Arthu, he'll have none of it. He'll just burst him down as now the Fisher, it'll find Polison. They'll clean them up. You can't kill Mizu. No problem, John. You kill everyone else around him.
Yeah, that's exactly what SMG just needs to do over and over again. They can't jump the Spec. Maybe you jump in, take the bait, and shift your focus. You clean up everyone else. They're a lot easier to manage. Even the Terrorblade at this point, although...
Yeah, Mizu, he's feeling a bit cheeky, John. He's going to move in. Shadow Step once again onto Arfu. He's such a tanky target. Mid one might eventually get through him this time, but no, you've got the time lapse there from JoeCam. One of the most disgusting combos I've seen so far in this new meta. This Spectre Weaver. So you can't kill him in the offlane, the offlane Spectre, and when you think you can, the time lapse is just there from JoeCam.
Yeah, and that goes back to the point. If SMG just ignores the Spectre, then a lot of your issues kind of fix themselves. Like, you still have good damage output coming out from Moon. Your PL can still dance around everyone else. Maybe the Ember Spirit's a bit tough because he does have Sleight of Fist and does have mobility, but once you burn his mana down, you're in a really good spot. And we do already have mid one with Scotty, so he's got more stats. That has made a difference. At this point, I wouldn't mind more stat stacking. You know, just going for a Heart could kind of work out. I don't feel like damage is going to be an issue for anyone outside of Mizu. So you could opt for that. He is opting for the Bloodtorn instead, it looks like, which is still really good. Silencing up the Terrorblade is going to be really big. Silencing up the Ember is going to be really good as well. And you can just get the hits off, try to get the kills as fast as possible, and kind of work from there. It's a very even game, 32-31. It has been even for a while, but GXR was taking most of the fights. But because of that last fight, SMG's got a bit of a window to breathe now.
Oh, Rupture. Polison Bleeding out right now. He'll stand his ground as Mizu. He'll go to the front, right on to Rogi. They'll pop the Dark Ascension, though. They want to try and force a fight, at least protect this Roshan. It's still very healthy, though. Roshan maybe acting as a bit of bait from GXR. But SMG, they'll happily take that bait. From the backside, KP sneaking up. Crippling Fear's there. They'll go after Jokam. They've got to get rid of that Weaver and get rid of that time lapse, and they've got him. They also found Mizu. But the buybacks are there. Haunts in. Arfu, he's gonna drop. That'll be a tieback. Now Moon being targeted. In Your Dream, moving in. Requiem, not enough. The Global Silence is there in time. Now the Satanic Pop, he'll man fight. In Your Dream, he can't do it, but maybe he can. The Sunder, it's there in time. In fact, mid one, he's still trying, and he does get him eventually. A triple kill out for the PL. KP's dropped. Paulison, he'll be chased now by mid one, and eventually get taken down. An ultra kill out for mid one, and now the Roshan's open. They've only got 2 heroes, but they might eventually get it done. Bad news though, John. Mizu's the only hero left alive, but it's still a Spectre. He might be able to do something about this Roshan play. He's gonna try by himself. He'll TP, get a reset. He's got the Shadow Step though. He can come back and whenever. Here we go again, Rogi.
Oh.
About to drop, and he will. Mid one, he's so low. He'll chase down Mizu again, drain all the mana. Mizu won't care though. He just wants the right clicks. And mid one, king of the hill. He'll just TP back to the fountain. Unfortunately for him though, he has no Shadow Step. So no Roshan for SMG.
Yeah, it's a good play from GXR. They hold off on Roche. It's a bit too slow for the PL to do solo anyway, even with the Bloodseeker support. So it was a bit optimistic to expect that to go for free. GXR, SMG, very even fight. They lose 4 heroes on both sides. They had a couple of diebacks each. Overall, it feels a little bit better for SMG because mid one does live true. And he is inching closer towards what is his Silver Edge. So switching it up once more, having their own break on PL to kind of handle that Spectre in addition to the Silver Edge on their SF is going to help the cause. Still a ways off from it. And for the most part on GXR side, Mizu is working towards a heart. So this Spectre is going to be really tanky up front. Still a lot of HP to reflect back with the Dispersion and Blade Mail. For SMG, they really just have to ignore him. Just jump everyone else. Don't even try to hit the Spectre. Just kill everyone else first. Take out the Ember Spirit, take out the TB.
They got Jokam, and it seems just as important to get rid of this Weaver, as the Ag's time lapse is just too much. But Jokam immediately going to buy back. Roshan's still open for both teams. Mid one. He'll force it. They know buybacks are quite low right now on the side of GXR, so if they can win this team fight, they might even be able to go high ground. Roshan dropping very fast. GXR, they're going to spot it out, but it's too late. In fact, Aegis is... Oh, mid one. He got the Aegis. Did he get the shards, though?
Yep. It's on Moon, so he's going to have that Necromastery upgrade now.
Haunt in. KP immediately with the Crippling Fear. They just need to retreat right now as GXR still want to force the fight. KP, he's gone. In Your Dream, who else can you find? Chains out. Alacrity. He won't be able to get the PL. Hey, you know, John, mid one with this PL, I don't know if people remember back in Dota 1, PL used to actually be able to go in Viz. Kind of reminds me back to those days.
Yep. That was still his laning skill on the Lance, right? Like, he used to get the invis there until the patch change sometime. But that's such a long time ago. But I remember that. Yeah, that used to be the play.
Good old times.
Used to be. Yeah, and I guess mid one's just reminiscing. Eventually, he'll have an even better version with his Silver Edge up. SMG off the back of that Roshan, they've got the 3K lead up. 38 to 37. It's still a really, really even game. I wonder if Dota Plus is saying the same thing. It does give us a 64% probability leaning towards GXR. I'm guessing that's because they've got a Spectre and a PL as hard, a Spectre and a TB as hard carries.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of 2 really hard scaling cores. But SMG is doing a good job of holding back. Like, again, they've got room to grow on Moon if they want to. He is going for the Swift Blink up. So his right click damage is pretty silly. Once he jumps in, maybe uses a couple of Necromastery Souls to boost up his damage as well for a 190% crit. And once he hits, say, his level 25, if he does go for the -4 Presence Aura, which you tend to go for as a right-click SF, he's going to have a lot of minus armor. That's 11 minus armor just by being near to this guy. And that's going to boost his damage, drop these heroes a little bit quicker. and help them clean up on the side of SMG. For GXR, you've
boy.
still got a Terrorblade. You know, it's still really big, has the Daedalus up, working for his own Satanic now to match up against the man fights of SMG. Still a ways off from that Satanic, though. But once you hit that spike, once you also have the heart fully up on Mizu, your two big, canky frontline, big cores might put a dent for SMG. It's a weird one. It's like a unbreakable shield and a all-powerful lance hitting each other. It's a very big back and forth, and it's all down to execution. Who can use the global silence first after the BKBs are up? Can you time that well in Paulson? Can you get your control on SMG side? Blow up the Weaver first in these fights and isolate the silencer? Like, these feel like the things that start to matter. It's down to the supports and whether you can catch them out in GXR side and then clean up the cores afterwards for SMG to win these fights out. And for GXR, whether or not they can time their ults to counteract the BKBs, to counteract the spell immunity from SMG, and give a second life to one of your big cores to prolong these fights and win out by attrition.
I'll tell you what, John, this is one of those games where the Witchbane might actually be useful for the side of SMG because of all the silences that are out. You can use it on your teammates, and that Dispel can be quite impactful. Unfortunately, they're not the ones to find one. I believe it was GXR that actually ended up finding a Witchbane, and we'll see. Man, how does Mizu get this lucky? He even found the aesthetics cap. So he's got the aesthetics cap, makes him even tankier, harder to kill now. Mid one, he actually kills off Paulson, and they're going tier 3 tower. And that's so much damage, my goodness. That tier 3 tower is just melting. Shadow step into the back lines. Not going to amount to much. The holdout, they just want to try and defend this tier 3 tower for now. You'd love to wait till Mizu has the full heart up. But you've also got to consider the fact that buyback is going to be very important at this stage of the game. Alacrity with the Ags out, looking to go in the far back of the team fight. Mizu, he'll get ruptured. That'll just force him back for a bit. He needs a reset. Mid one, he'll get into the Philly barracks immediately and try to get that down ASAP. Still being very cautious though, as now the reset is here for Mizu. Slowly but surely, they'll rely on Moon to get through this Rax. And that's what they'll do. Another shadow step onto Arfu, but it won't amount to much. Mizu, he gets caught for a second, but the aesthetics cap does kind of just save him from the stun. And I think once you have that hard up, John, hard up, level 25 talent, plus 5% dispersion of the Spectre, that's a bit of a yikes for SMG, I think.
Yeah, very big yikes. That aesthetics cap, the HP to regen, and that stat resist on hand is just insane for something like the Spectres. When he jumps in, it's pretty big. He does switch out for the Stormcrafter, though. So he's got the Zap coming through, and he's got the Whirlwind as well to buy some time, which I guess they prioritize a little bit more. Helps him really spot the real peel as well, to a certain extent. So it does help Mizu as well get the chase off with that slow. So the Shadow Step's a little bit stronger now for his Spectre, instead of focusing on some kill potential rather than durability with the Aesthetics cap, and that should be the way to go. Like, you buff up your Shadow Step basically with this neutral item up on the Spec. That heart you were talking about, 160 gold away. Once that's up, Spectre's going to be really, really tanky, and you really just have to ignore her. Ignore her as best as you can. Kill everyone else off first. SMG's got a 7k lead now, mainly down to the fact that Alacrity and Mizu have taken the backseat in comparison to Moon, who is matching Mid-1's farm and In Your Dreams farm very well. So let's see if they can leverage that key item advantage they have on this SF as they go in.
So many forms of invis right now on Mid one. He's got the Shadow Blade, or rather Silver Edge, plus the Trickster Cloak. Moon, he tried to go in on the TB Illusion, but that won't work out in his favor. Instead, now Mizu moving in onto KP. Nobody's sticking around though. SMG all retreat. And this is really bad timing because In Your Dream, he just got the Satanic up. It could be a terrible fight for SMG. It's now Alacrity. He's right in, but the damage is way too high. Time lapse though, it'll reset as Rogi, he'll have to buy back after dying to In Your Dream. Mizu, he'll go for his own reset, but the TP cancellation's there. Horn committed back towards Moon. He'll just try to run. He's out of mana and can't fight right now on the Spectre. So is In Your Dream. He'll pop the Satanic and heal himself up, but SMG, they're rushing in now after Paulson. They'll at least get the silencer down. He'll have buyback up. and can come in whenever. In the meantime, Mizu has the heart. So a very tanky Spectre now, and is just so close to level 25. But SMG, with these silver edges up, the amount of damage they're pumping out, it just feels like they've got the answers at the moment.
Yeah, they've got the ways to handle that Spectre. And even then, if the Spectre is up front, they just ignore it. They're playing it right. They just don't want to deal with that high HP hero. They're focusing on everyone else first. If they manage to kill off those supports, which it really boils down to, killing off the Silencer before the GS, killing off the Weaver before the time-lapse, you can easily take control in front, despite the Satanics coming through, despite that durability on the Spec. They will try for a smoke play here on GXR, though. A bit risky. Remember, Mizu with a fresh heart means he has no buyback.
Yeah, Moon's got a DD room bottle up, John, to make matters worse. This SF going to be hidden like an absolute trunk, and Swarm will catch him out. However, they've got Polison. Global Silence came out in time, but they've lost Jocam. He'll commit a buyback. They need that time lapse in this team fight. Mizu, he'll try to rush onto mid one, but mid one, he just ignores him onto Alacrity. He'll remnant away. Rogi moving in. Arfu, that's a great Fisher. He caught Alacrity. He cancels the TP, and that's just Ember gone. Without buyback is now Jocam. He'll die back. I think SMG, they've done it. It should be a 2-0 victory here. Unless they can defend 2 versus 5 for GXR, but again Arfu's in. He doesn't catch In Your Dream though. BKB was there in time, but they're fighting without Metamorphosis for the next 15 seconds. On the bright side, they have a top tier 2 tower available, but the tier 4s are under siege. Shadows step out, but they're just ignoring them. Nobody hitting the heroes as the Echo Slam. Arfu, he's in, locking down In Your Dream, and now Mizu, all he can do is run. They call it. GG is called. GXR, they will get 2-0'd by SMG. And SMG now on a 12 win streak throughout the Pro Series Season 8. And honestly, GXR, they look so strong throughout that mid-game, John, but SMG just pull it back their way, and what a series it was.
A lot of back and forth in that one. I think for SMG, at some point they were playing into the Spectre a bit too much, right? Like the Vanguard was up, the Blade Mail was up, along with the Chipped Vest. There was a lot of reflected damage back. They kept trying to jump Mizu for like 10 to 15 minutes. And eventually when they went back, just built some farm up, got the BKB, got the Silver Edge, start to focus on the other heroes from GXR, start to get the jumps first onto Jocam, onto Paulson. And that's when it started to shape up, because at the end of the day, if your Spectre isn't being hit, your Spectre is not really dispersing the damage back. It's not soaking the damage for your team. It's not doing its job. And SMG just realize that, work it to their advantage, focus in on the key supports instead, especially that Weaver. Jokam's Weaver was stalling the game, stalling the fights out so long with those time lapses. And KP was right on target every time, jumping into the Dark Ascension and Crippling Fear to just take care of that pesky bug. A very close game though. GXR, they managed to hit some good spikes. Doubted how much they could get done with the Spectre this game. They did manage to get some good value, but at the end of the day, it couldn't really become that big pause one. It still had a lot of items, but it wasn't the hero that SMG needed to focus on. And that just meant if you're not focusing on Spectre, dispersion does nothing.
No, absolutely not. With that, John, we do have another banger series coming up. This time it's going to be Boom Esports against Army Geniuses. We kind of talked about this last night, but AG, they're still not really out of the woods yet. Currently tied in 8th place between themselves and OB Neon. So one of these teams might be going home after tonight. AG quite desperate for the win, but Boom Esports, I mean, it's a really stacked roster and they are looking very strong. We'll head to a short 10 to 15 minute break, and right after that break, we're going to be back with our second series between Boom Esports and Army Geniuses.